Hey everybody, November 2025 promises to be a fascinating month as we're going to have Mars, Mercury, and the Sun in the sign of Sagittarius. Mercury is going to go retrograde and Jupiter is going to go retrograde, and Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So we're having some sort of major redirect, returnaround, redo, reevaluation and and making sure that we're in alignment because Saturn is also in retrograde and Saturn's going to go direct at the end of the month. So Saturn and Jupiter are making this beautiful trine, Mercury in retrograde. Now, all three of these planets are going to be in retrograde, making sure that we reevaluate, we go back and we redo something from the past that we've left behind, need to redo, need to learn better, or need to integrate more in our psyche before we can go forward when Saturn stations direct at the end of the month. All right, here we are at the beginning of November with Mercury in the sign of Sagittarius. Mars is going to oppose Uranus before it moves into Sagittarius here in a day or two, which will cause some sort of upset, possibly it can be a volatile, sudden violence, sudden upheavals, and it can be a shock and awe energy, crisis energy, and degree point of Scorpio. But other than that, the month looks beautiful after we get over that hump. But Mercury is going to start going retrograde here on the 9th, and then Jupiter follows in retrograde. And Jupiter is making this beautiful trine to Saturn, and the Sun will join that trine. Venus will join that trine in the month of November, which is a beautiful backdrop of harmony, calm, peace, blessings, intuitive intelligence, connecting, reflecting these energies because we've got all this retrogradation with Jupiter in retrograde, Mercury in retrograde, Saturn in retrograde. And then with that Mercury in retrograde, we're going back, we're reconnecting with people that we need to reconnect with, that are really a part of our future, that are a part of our Dharma. Sagittarius is all about our Dharma, being on our calling, being on our purpose, following a destiny, following a destined path. And then Jupiter is blessing that with long-term opportunities and abundance and expansion. But when it's in retrograde, we're really reevaluating and we're integrating what we have learned so far and really leaning on what we've learned and really seeing if we've learned it on a psyche level, that it's integrated as a part of who we are now. Planets go direct, we learn a lot. Jupiter direct, Jupiter retrograde, we go back and we discover what we have learned, what is real, what is solid in what we have learned that we can really lean on and use for our own personal expansion. So, Jupiter retrograde, ruling all these planets in Sagittarius. The Sun's going to go into Sagittarius in the 21st of November. And Mercury will be retrograde back into Scorpio, forming another opposition to Uranus, which could bring another deep secrets, revelations, people from the past coming in. Mercury retrograde, we're reevaluating people from our past, choices we made in the past that were not necessarily put us in the right direction. People we left behind that are part of that are really supportive of our true dharmic path that we need to go back and reconnect with. Ideas, projects that we may have not felt strong enough to do or courageous enough to do. Because remember, we have a Jupiter who is ruling all of these planets in Sagittarius, squaring Chiron, giving us the courage and healing us to be initiators and to start these dharmic callings and missions, or shall we say purposes, or what we're here to do, which is going to bring the world into a better place. When we follow our dharmic path collectively, we make heaven on earth, basically. So Jupiter and Saturn is making this beautiful trine, blessing us with opportunities and rewards, you could say, from the squares that happened before with Jupiter Saturn square, where we're now starting to see opportunities in the results of our efforts that will solidify and stabilize an abundant future for us, right? But with this retrogradation, we have to go back and fix something or reconnect with someone or redo a project or come back and reevaluate something we believe. Maybe we have a new belief system. Maybe we can do something now with our new belief, with that Jupiter squaring Chiron. We have the faith in it. Now we can go back and take on a project or take on a relationship or an idea. Go back, retrieve this this good thing that is going to improve our lives and expand our lives. And now we're going to bring it back into our journey, our forward destiny. And then when Saturn goes direct here at the end of the month, it really takes us forward on that, with that new aligned, shall we say, things that we retrieved from the past, people, ideas, projects. And then we're bringing them with us forward. Now, Jupiter's going to stay in retrograde. Mercury's going to go out of retrograde in December. Saturn's going to be out of retrograde in December, but Jupiter's going to continue its retrogradation, which means we're continuing to draw on what we have internally learned, and we're continuing to integrate wisdom, knowledge, experience. And it's a long retrogradation, but it is in its abundant sign of Cancer, so it shouldn't block abundance. It should continue to feed us abundance. Only we're really leaning on what an internal wisdom that we have developed in the last. Well, all of this journey began in December 21, 2020. So we've learned a lot. We've gained a lot of wisdom in our experience and in our learning. Jupiter is about learning and growing consciousness and awareness. So we've made a lot of new awareness, new knowledge. So now when Jupiter goes into retrograde, we then apply it. We then see, did we really learn something, or was it only head deep, or did it change who we were? Now at Jupiter retrograde, we see that it has changed who we are, and we now act from that internal place of knowing rather than external. So we have two lunations, as always, every month. We're going to have a full moon in Taurus on the 5th of November. And that is going to be a super abundant full moon, 13 degrees of Taurus. Super abundant full moon. Anytime you're going to get the moon in Taurus, we're really going to get some nice harvest, especially a full moon. We're harvesting. We're reaping the rewards on a full moon. We're seeing the results of some sort of a nice, abundant, strong, stable, long-term results from some sort of effort that we may have seeded in the new moon in May. So we're seeing sort of the harvest of that, and it looks very abundant and sort of we could say it's a very rich produce with a lot of nutrients, nurturing us to continue on this highly supported path that we're on by the universe, feeding us lots of richness. And then we're going to have a new moon in Scorpio on the 20th. And the new moon in Scorpio on the 20th is pretty intense because it's at the end degree point of Scorpio. So it's like kind of a crisis degree. So for some people, this could be a situation of sort of intensity, upset. But there's a crisis often at the end degree point. But again, it depends on your own personal chart, if it's giving you a harsh angle, but if not, it's a really beautiful new moon where we really clear old fears. With this Saturn, Jupiter trine, it's really supporting our forward momentum. By this point, Saturn is still in retrograde, but we're really finding some deep clearing, some purging of transformative of the fears, some deep fears that have been holding us back from taking our nice path, because it really does. This new moon is a part of that water trine, which brings us into a harmonic flow towards our destiny, a stable new future. So we're really breaking through some sort of deep fear, inner fear that's blocking our destiny with that new moon. And so this is a new moon, a new beginning from a newly healed, or shall we say, purged, brave, the end of that, because whenever you get to the end degree point, Neptune is making a trine to Neptune. So it's sort of some sort of a blessing as a result of having done some internal transformative work. We now have a new seed, a new beginning from sort of fresh soil. So very fertile new moon. And so that takes us pretty much to the end of the month there. Saturn stationing direct, I'm going to go into all the 12 signs now. Saturn stationing direct is going to bring a lot of forward momentum on top of the retrograde energy. So we get a nice, Saturn's been in retrograde, so things have felt possibly pretty blocked and slow and heavy. So then when Saturn starts moving direct, we start to feel it's a slow build momentum, which is really going to take strong traction in February when it goes into Aries. So we're realigning in these energies, getting back, making sure we're in the right path, in the right Dharmic destiny, with the right people, the right projects, the right ideas, so that when Saturn goes direct, we're in alignment, going forward with those things. And again, this is all with a reflective, with the month beginning with this retrogradation. We're really connecting with our higher selves, our souls, and really connecting with what our soul is here to do. And we're just finding the path forward, clarifying that path forward this month. And it will go very strongly forward by the we'll start to really feel a momentum start to build by the end of the month. All right, have a wonderful month. Namaste. All right, Libra, the month begins with the Mars opposite Uranus in your ninth, in your second, and in your ninth. Uranus is in Gemini in your ninth, and Mars is in Scorpio in your second. Now, that could be some sort of intense information, knowledge around your finances that could be stressful, that call for a disruption in possible travel plans. But whatever, and again, or there is a conflict in a relationship between beliefs, or if you've had a conflict in a relationship around beliefs, there's a breakthrough around this, shall we say, barrier of difference in beliefs. And there's some sort of a breakthrough because this energy trines the grand, is a part of the grand water trine and creates a flow, an open flow or movement, breakthrough energies that enables you to be on your true dharmic path because the water trine blesses your work houses, your money houses, and how you serve the world is your sixth house through your career, your 10th house, which then feeds you, your second house. So that's where these blessings, the big water trine is blessing your chart and having you flow into alignment with a calling and a purpose that does reward you financially. That is actually what the universe is working to align you in and preparing you for the new beginning of this 29-year cycle chapter that begins in February when Saturn is back into Aries at 0 degrees, initiating the big new cycle. And that's going to happen in your seventh house of relationships, which brings me to the Mercury retrograde, which will happen on the 9th. But before that, let me get to the new moon, the full moon in Taurus, which will happen in your eighth house. Now, that is a very nice full moon Taurus in your, sorry, your eighth house. Yep, the sun will be in your second house. So this could bring, again, more themes around that Mars-Uranus opposition around finances and perhaps a crisis or a revelation of a debt or a tax debt. But whatever happens on this full moon, it does break again a transformative energy, which breaks open to a lot of abundance because that is in a very auspicious indignity, or shall we say, exalted full moon in your eighth house. So there is a beautiful breakthrough in your finances that enables you to go onto your dharmic path, some sort of financial support from either joint resources. This could be a full moon where you join resources. Now, this is a full moon that would be the results of a new moon that you planted or seeds that you planted in May, in the new moon Taurus in May, or a new moon a couple of years ago. So we're seeing some sort of abundant results or harvest from some sort of financial investment or joint resources that was initiated prior. And now we're seeing the feeding of it or the nourishing or the nourishment coming from it. Anyway, so then we're going to move into this Mercury goes retrograde, but we're going to be feeling the Mercury retrograde all the beginning of the month because it's already in shadow, so it's already really happening. And so this is going to bring communication with people from the past. Now, it could be neighbors, friends, siblings, relationships, or projects. Again, the third house is businesses, media projects. So this could bring connections and media projects and people from the past that are really supposed to be a part of this new financial water trine because these Jupiter is going to go retrograde too soon. I'm going to get to that in a minute, but this Mercury retrograde, by the way, Mars is opposite Uranus there too again, so we are continuing in the first week of November surprises that are disruptive, that could cause a shift in your destiny, a shift in your direction, a change in your plans, and this does involve your finance houses and your communication houses and higher thinking and philosophy and perceptions. So you may have some sort of big breakthrough in perceptions as well, like a big awakening or a new belief, a shift in your beliefs. But the Mercury retrograde could be a part of that. Or also it is someone from your past coming in and communicating and surprising you, a big surprise coming in, or an offer, a big surprising offer comes in. Again, this doesn't have to be negative, a Uranian transit. It's just shifts us, it changes things. Um, so Mercury in retrograde brings communication from people from the past involving projects or businesses or media projects from the past. So now we're going to have the Jupiter in retrograde in your 10th house, where you are integrating a lot that you've learned since the beginning of 2020, December 21, 2020, when Jupiter and Saturn were conjoined. This would have initiated a journey for you to find some sort of independence. And this is involving trining Saturn. So these are your work houses. So we're seeing some long-term benefit, stability in your finances and in your career through service, like I already said. But the Jupiter in retrograde, you're really utilizing what you've learned. You're really putting it to practice, really helping to bless the situation because you've really integrated some lessons. Now, Jupiter is going to be retrograde to March, so we have a long time to really practice and integrate a lot that we've learned since 2020. And this is going to bring you onto your dharmic path because this is a universal support. And Saturn being in the picture, Saturn Jupiter is our calling, our purpose. And so these supportive energies that really help you align in the right direction. There's a lot of reflection energy with these retrograde Jupiter planets in water, where we're really assessing what we really truly want. Libra. And also Saturn's going to move into your relationship house. So you're really reflecting on what relationship you want to commence and start and commit to. If you're already in a connection, then you're committing a joint project, possibly with your spouse, or a partnership agreement, business agreement. And the third house is businesses. So perhaps a partner from the past, or a, shall we say, a business partner, collaborative person that you collaborated with in the past over a project that didn't really work out because of Chiron and Jupiter, Aries, where we didn't have enough belief in ourselves to really go forward with it. Now with Chiron squaring Jupiter, we really believe in this. We're willing to take risks and step forward boldly. Third house is initiating our own businesses around our skills and being very bold and brave about it. And it is very an abundant energy to be in. So yeah, so Jupiter retrograde is having you pull from what you've learned and turn it into results that are very auspicious. So then we're going to look at the new moon in Scorpio. So that connects with that second house, that Mars opposite Uranus. So perhaps that caused a termination of a source of income. You quit a job, you quit some kind of form of making income. Perhaps you're making income from a rent somewhere and you decide to sell it, so you're not taking that income anymore, but there is some shift in your income. And then in this new moon, it's opposite Uranus, again, has a sort of shocking, shifting, disruptive energy that could really tilt your destiny. And with these retrograde planets, it involves projects and people from the past. Even Uranus is in retrograde. So it's like we're redoing something from the past that we abandoned because we weren't brave enough. We didn't believe in, there was some sort of inner transformation that needed to occur prior to this going forward. So we were ready for our dharmic path. Well, in this new moon in Scorpio, we become transformed and we are really ready for this new path. We're taking risks. We're leaping forward. We're believing in it. And because we really have integrated some sort of lesson where we have developed an ability to really take something forward here. and create abundance with it. And this again, we're initiating 29-year cycles. So this is going to line up with your true relationship when Saturn moves into the seventh house in February, where the very committed, now you may find yourself committing to a new relationship if you're not in one and you're preparing for committing, or if you're already in one, the momentum starts to build at the end of the month, but you'll really see the abundant results more in February, but you will be feeling good and stable about how things are progressing at the end of this month. So yeah, so there's that new moon in Scorpio causing a transformation in your finance houses. Um, Now, I think that's pretty much covers it all. Again, I talked about Saturn stationing direct at the end of the month, really causing a sense of momentum to build, optimism. Um, Jupiter will be continuing to trine that, so there's a flow energy to our forward motion into our Dharmic path, our calling, or this new chapter that we're lining up for, that all these planets are lining us up for. Venus, your ruling planet, will be in Scorpio too. So that is in tremendous intensity during this new moon for you, Libra. But again, it brings liberation and freedom and perhaps a relationship with a true divine counterpart that you may have already known from the past and you go back and reconnect with. All right. Well, I hope this was informative and helpful for you. Have a wonderful month. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, please do. And if you would like a reading, feel free to contact me at soullevels.com. Namaste.